Today I find myself in Hull. I've dropped somebody off a charity called Open Doors. They're looking for some help with their immigration application, and I'm just using the time to walk around the streets here and prayer walk, because I would say there's nothing better to do. There's probably nothing more important to do. Seeing the world through different eyes, seeing a different part of the world, and lifting up the needs of the things I'm seeing to God, as well as my own needs. I think it's really important that we realise that our conversations with God don't just have to take place in a religious building or at a set time. That actually our dialogue with God is ongoing. It can take place all the time, and that's how I try and approach my life, and certainly my prayer life as well. Sometimes it's easier than others. Sometimes it's easy to see the needs. Sometimes it feels like I'm walking alone, but generally I kind of find that this is time really well spent. I first really got into this when I was studying in Durham. I had this beautiful walk down through the woods into the city, and each day I'd pause here, one of the most photographed spots in the northeast, and each day I felt the tangible presence of God, as if he were there walking beside me. Here in Bridlington, we're going to meet Ian, a retired priest who lives just round the corner, and he's been talking to God a lot longer than I have. Hello, you gonna let me in? Whee! I get greeted by dogs with every house I go into.
They must smell you. Hello. So how do you want to do this?
Well, I just
sit down.
no, we just do it here.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
I'm
A bit hairy.
That's all right. Me too. Yeah. I'd never realised this before, but our church is literally just over there, just over the wall from the garden there. You're that close. And what does a retired priest get up to in his spare time then, Ian?
Well, as you can see, I get up to making myself a shed. It was originally a goods wagon, and now I'm making it look like a 1880s Pullman coach.
And what do you plan to do once the shed is complete?
Well, I'm going to do some iconography in it, which I do, and I originally trained as a silversmith and jeweller, so I shall be doing that, and invite my friends to come drink sherry, probably.
You say again?
Inviting my friends to come and drink sherry.
Oh, brilliant! Right, I might even bag an invite to that.
You've got a date for that then?
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to chat to you today because one of the things I'm looking at the minute is prayer, and how some people find prayer quite difficult. Some people find it's something you just do in a church, and I had a really good conversation with you about it.
Yeah. Well, I think I've come to see over my life, my 40 years ministry, that we start off with some very strange ideas of what prayer is. Prayer in its essence is about talking to the Father, and we tend to make it into a big deal. By that I mean it is very important, but what I mean by a big deal is that we sort of surround it with all sorts of things we should do. We've got to go somewhere quiet, we've got to be in the right frame of mind, we've got to be, inverted commas, holy at that moment, free from sin, and all these things that actually I think the evil one puts in our way to stop us praying. And it seems to me that what prayer is really about is talking to the Father, as we've described it. But as you talk to your Father every day, and you talk naturally, and you talk about who turns it to the washing up. You talk to him about the fact he broke. He talks to you about the fact that he's got one or two difficulties himself and he needs a bit of help with this. And it's a sort of ongoing conversation. It seems to me that is what prayer is. It's an ongoing conversation which is going on all the time in us. And so often I think we mistake what's happening within us. We talk to ourselves all the time, but we don't realise we're actually praying and talking to the Father as well.
I heard
that in a voice.
Yeah, I heard something really helpful once that said praying is like breathing.
Yeah.
It's that essential. You breathe in God's presence, you breathe out, and it's something that you have to do, and it's something that's not just at set times, but it's constant. It's constant conversation, which is a really hard thing to get your head around, isn't it?
It is really. And there's the promise in Joel, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. And from that, I believe that God's Spirit is within us, and God's Spirit intercedes for us from within us, and it's all people. All people pray, although they do not realise it.
Sometimes we find it easy to pray when the sun is shining down and life is all it should be. It's 12 o'clock and I'm sitting on Bridlington Promenade. I've just got myself a cup of tea from Richie's Cafe Bar. So this is all part of our parish. I can warmly recommend this place if you ever come to Brid and you're looking for somewhere to eat. So let's say our prayer together now. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. In my prayers today, I'm remembering all of these people who it is my ministry to have cure of souls over people in this parish, which is a huge burden and a great privilege as well. And I lift them all before the Lord and ask that He may bless them and be in all of the details of their lives, that they might know the presence of God with them this morning as they march along the promenade, as they eat their ice creams, as they carry their burdens and their joys here in Bridlington this day. The Lord be with them. But what about those times when we're away from the sunshine? Sometimes I find it helpful to turn my back on the beach and walk the streets. The prayer concerns come thick and fast. It's a real mixture of houses in this street. Guest houses, houses of apartments and flats, and some houses that have probably been owned by the same person for decades, still trying to keep their house looking smart and proud as they all once were down here. Now, to be honest, it's a little bit of a mess. Private landlords make lots of money out of people that really don't have much and that have all sorts of issues going on in their lives. And I remember those people this morning in my prayers. And it's in this part of the parish here where the church actually owns a house for people that have fallen upon bad luck, to help them to turn their lives around. It's called Hope Housing, a wonderful charity. And for some of them they do turn their lives around, for others it's not such a happy end. But at least we can give them that chance of somewhere to live and to find new opportunities for work, for housing, for relationships. I'll be remembering them in my prayers this morning too.
I'm a great believer in creating order out of chaos. My workshop is chaos.
You really didn't want me to film that, did you?
Out of that I'm bringing order.
But there's great order to this. I'm so inspired. I'm thinking that when I retire, if I can do something like this, I'll be very impressed.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I found really helpful when I was reading about prayer was by a former Archbishop of Canterbury, I think, Michael Ramsey, and he said, because sometimes you struggle, don't you? It's like talking to God. Sometimes you don't have the words, and he said that prayer is simply being with God, with people on your mind.
That's right.
And I thought that was perfect.
Exactly right. That's a wonderful description. And you talk about difficulties of prayer. There's something very creative about prayer, and as an artist, creativity is very difficult. It's not difficult in terms of doing it. It's difficult starting it. You hear writers talk about that. They will do anything, but actually confront that page. And it's the same with iconography, and it's the same with prayer. We will do anything but really begin to confront it. And we just need to think, but as with painting, once you start, you think, oh, this is wonderful. You just do it. And it's great. We get distracted, but God
just
knows
do
this.
it. That was an advertising slogan for one of the big sports firms, wasn't it? Just do it. So there's the message for prayer.
Yeah.
Great. I need to head off now and do the communion. So,
Yeah.
and you've got
your cup of coffee, but obviously you've got the community to do. So.
well, that's right. Yeah, and I think you've got lots of work to do yourself there as well.
I've got another 6 months probably on this. It gets first coat of undercoat today. Hooray!
Good stuff. I look forward to seeing the finished product and enjoying a tipple, probably sometime spring 2022.
That's right. Yes.
Lovely. Thank
Bless
you.
you.
See you later.
Thanks
God
for
bless.
coming.
You
Bye.
too. Bye. Well, that's enough talking from me. Now I'm going to give you some space. You might remember at the start I said something about how we can't capture God's presence in a building. But that's not to say that buildings can give us sacred spaces to meet with God. At Emmanuel Church, we've set up a prayer space, and that's where I'm going to leave you today.
I cultivate a quiet place within this life of mine. I come to wait before the one who knows my heart's design. In the stillness I've come to wait before you, God. And I find you in the waiting, and I find you in the waiting. You remind me in the stillness to know you are God. Meet with me again. Oh, Jesus, meet with me. And I find you in the waiting, and I find you in the waiting. You are God.